My name is Reinhard. Our company is called RSL Premium. Our head office is in beautiful Vienna, and we serve all major cities in Austria. I'm in this industry since more than 30 years now, experienced some crises already, and I'm confident to survive this one as well. Today, I'm interviewing Ralf Rehder. He is the CEO of a new mobility startup, Rockwin Global Mobility. And today's focus is security. Hello, Ralf. Good to see you and good to hear that you have started in this project under these circumstances.
Yeah, good to see you, Reinhard. Thanks a lot for taking your time with me today. And yeah, we've not seen each other for quite a long time. And good to see you at least here on the video screen. And it's a great pleasure for me indeed. And well, yes, these are special times. And you see, but all of us at Rockwin agreed that, you see, if we want to start something new, now is the perfect moment, because we feel that after the crisis, the travel landscape will change and we need to come up with new solutions. So that's why.
My attention first is that Rockwin obviously puts great emphasis on security. What's your opinion? Why is generally safety and security such an important issue in travel?
Well, you see, when we're talking about travel and security, we always need to be aware that travel implies risks. Whether it's leisure travel, family travel, or business travel, you see, if you just want to escape your daily routine, or if you need to travel, you see, because you're a business traveler and you need to explore new markets, travelers will always be exposed to situations with a greater complexity. And if you wish, we somehow venture into the unpredictable with each and every travel. And this causes uncertainty. And that has always been the case. And it's even more so today, because you see, now we have increased risks like natural disasters, terrorist attacks. You see, we've had all of that. And of course, today we have the threat of an infection. We also see clear signs today that the travelers feel more at risk than they did before in former times.
Yeah, I understand. And I completely agree, Ralf. What needs to be done from your point of view, especially when you think about ground transportation?
Well, first of all, we need to see that in chauffeured ground transportation, or if you will, first and last mile of the travel chain, we have a relatively low level of standardization, and that applies worldwide, basically. And this also promotes the uncertainty that I was mentioning before. And well, what needs to be done? On a high level, we need to avoid unnecessary risks. And finally, and most importantly, we must protect our travelers. And what we do here is a 3-step process in travel risk management, which is first, risk analysis, second, risk assessment, and third, risk mitigation. And let me just quickly describe that to you. Well, step 1, risk analysis. And that's where we gain knowledge about what can happen and where does it happen and under which circumstances does it happen, what else happened at the same time of the day or this date a year ago, right? And this is based on data analytics, starting with a collection of data. If you will, big data mining. And because the more you know, the better you can draw conclusions or predict what is going to happen, which then needs to be done in step 2. Step 2 is risk assessment. And this is the phase of evaluation where you basically take the data, see how the data correlate with each other, and then you find something like cause and effect relationships between the different variables that are affecting a travel process. And then you finally come to conclusions that start with what might happen if. So what we do here is that we apply machine learning. And the purpose is to recognize risk pattern, as data analysts call it, and risk clusters, where the final goal is to get into the area of predictability. And that naturally leads to more options and to alternatives. And then we come to step 3. This is the risk mitigation, and where we need to take action, where we use this automated anticipation to find safer options in a given situation. And that's why we actually provide an added value for the customer.
As we're also working in chauffeur transportation, Ralf, I have still 2 questions. What would be the typical risks in ground transportation from your point of view? And what options can you offer to mitigate risk?
People mostly think, if they think of risk, they think of theft, robbery, carjacking, or in other words, capital crime. But you see, actually, this is not the main risk area. The greatest risks while traveling in a car are car accidents. And those can be related to heavy traffic, or they can be related to special weather conditions, or of course also to possible driving errors. To be sure, if a vehicle is in an accident in a high crime area, you see we have already 2 risk levels there, and the passenger then is immediately subject to higher risks. So now if we wish to manage these risks, we need to again consider the 3 steps. And first step is analyze, right? And so how big is the risk, and where and when did it happen in the past, under which circumstances? And in other words, we collect data again, relevant data, and of course, as much data as possible. And then second step is risks need to be assessed. We need to evaluate the circumstances, match the different layers of data, include various other layers of data, correlate the data, and then come to conclusions about how we can mitigate the exposure to certain risks. And what can be done proactively, right? And so then, as I said, we apply machine learning and we can make predictions. Those are getting better over the time, better and better. Third step, again, we need to mitigate the risk and find out finally which conclusions need to be brought to actions. So, in other words, how can we influence a given trip from A to B in regards of routing, the timing, any other anticipatory measures to bring the risk to a level where we get from unacceptable to acceptable. So the bottom line is anticipation of risk as a systematic approach. And that is a clear customer benefit.
Yeah, thanks for that, Ralf. Yeah, I think you guys are onto something for our industry. But you just talked about collecting data and that the data serves as the basis for a risk assessment.
We actually have data engineers and data scientists to take care of the acquisition of data and, of course, then of the required processing of the data. And to make sure that this is really in accordance with scientific standards, we established a cooperation with data scientists at a university. And this university is the University of Auckland in New Zealand, and they provide us with expert knowledge and with their professional advice. Yes, right. And of course, we use data and statistics from official resources and various open source data to get data that are really actionable.
You were also talking about crime. Is that also predictable? Can you really prevent a passenger from becoming an object of a criminal attack?
Well, can you predict a certain crime to happen? The answer is no. But can you predict situations in which the probability of a criminal attack is increased? Yes, you can. And in addition to that, you can clearly assess risks of criminal attacks in various countries, also in various cities, parts of cities, neighborhoods, even streets. These data exist, and we will use it and make it also available for our customers. And you can also assess the probability of crime during or after a certain event or at a certain time of the day, and we can leverage real-time data. It's really only the question of the availability of data, and it's a question, of course, of an intelligent analysis of those data. So all in all, you're absolutely right. It's a big challenge to get reliable data on the likelihood of criminal attack. But you see also an effective risk management wouldn't be complete without the use of those data. So at the bottom line, Reinhard, Rockwin will use proprietary algorithms to formulate a risk assessment. And we give something like safety scores for each trips, like on a scale from 0 to 10. And those scores will then be shared with the booker and with the traveler.
Ralf, I'm just thinking about our typical clients. Would some travelers be more at risk than others? I'm thinking of politicians and VIPs.
Yeah, this is correct, Reinhard. But it's always a very individual assessment that must be made here.
Okay.
It can easily happen that various people in various roles, they attract, if you wish, unwanted attention, right? And that can be company executives, politicians, of course, diplomats, entertainers, athletes, whatever. Our role is to understand these travelers and their risk profile. And then we need to provide them with as many options as possible to be safe and incognito. And you see, that can, of course, also mean to provide additional layers of security. I'm talking about security teams and maybe close protection or armored vehicle at certain destinations. But to be able to do that, you see, we will encourage our bookers to provide us a complete picture of the traveler. That's essential, you see, because then we can take all the factors into account when we plan their trips.
Okay, that was lots of food for thought. And it's very interesting, of course, yeah. But let me put it like this. It seems you're bringing a totally new dimension to our industry. That's something new.
Thank you, Reinhard. I have to thank you. We really believe that we're adding real value for travelers with this new approach. And thanks for the excellent questions, by the way. And at last, I would like to say, you see, we can't do that alone. You see, you also have been a peer in our industry for many years, and I hope that we can count on your support in the area that you're representing. And if we wish to provide a new standard in ground transportation, we can only do it together. And we hope that also all the high-end ground transportation services in Europe will also join us as well.
Yes, and I hope you will keep me updated.
Absolutely, absolutely. We'll be definitely in contact, Reinhard, and you can also follow us on LinkedIn because you see there we will have regular updates, and you can just follow us there.
Thank you.
What a great pleasure. Thank you, Reinhard.
You again. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.